TCL Chinese Theatre for the 19th annual Oscar qualifying HollyShorts Film Festival. I'm Haley, this is my co-host Indiana, and we're sat here today with Rob Cristiano, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And Tyler Riggs.
That's it.
Welcome. From the film Blue Boy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're doing great. Thanks so much for fitting us in here.
Of
It's an honor.
course.
Gosh, thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to talking about this film. Can you start out by giving us a little bit of a log line just to let everyone know what it's about?
Yeah. Blue Boy's a proof of concept comedic drama about an insecure Italian-American New Jersey bodybuilder who wants to go pro and become a famous bodybuilder.
Okay. And he does something to do that, correct?
Yeah.
Right?
It's basically about a bodybuilder who dreams about becoming pro, but he skipped leg day,
Okay.
a few too many times. So
Okay.
this is kind of his last shot, his last ditch effort. So he starts doing steroids.
To try to bulk up a little
Try to
bit
bulk
more,
up, you know?
right? Okay.
Try to get that edge.
Yeah,
And how did you guys find each other to make this film?
Oh man, that's a funny story. So the actor that I knew I was going to work with and cast in the project did he work on your thesis short film at Columbia?
Matt was an actor who was working on stuff at Columbia. We met
Yeah.
at Columbia University
Wow.
when I was in the producing program there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and
And-
Matt reached out to me about this project.
Well, yeah. Well, Matt kind of made it seem like he knew. Like I thought he knew you better than he knew you. So we were like, we need a producer
Perfect.
for the short film. I was
have
like,
to
I
get
can't
that
do
guy.
everything.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
gotta have a producer. And he's like, what about this guy Rob? I'm like, yeah. And me and Matt kind of behind your back, we kind of joke around. Like we bullied Rob to produce our short
Yeah.
film for us. So that's like the
best
secret.
method.
That's basically
Yeah.
what happened.
That's how
Yeah.
you get a producer.
Bully a
you
producer.
bully them. You give them a
Nice.
wedgie and everything.
Amazing.
So,
There's no wedges.
a tidbit that I think I gleaned is that Matt is actually a bodybuilder. Is that correct?
Well, no. So I met Matt. We both went to theater conservatory,
Okay.
William Esper Studio in New York. Like we were trying to figure out how many years ago. It's like 13 years ago.
A long time ago.
But
We love those connections from a long time
Yeah,
ago
and
that
it was
turn
like
into
one of the-
something like this.
totally. And when we were in class, we are like, yeah, we're gonna work together always and forever, you and me, buddy. And we kind of tried to stay true to that. But before he was an actor, he was doing bodybuilding, and
Okay.
then he started taking acting classes, and then, I don't know, he probably experienced like ego death or something along those lines, and it was like, yeah, bodybuilding's probably not for me.
Got it.
Simple thing like that.
But he can act as a bodybuilder, though.
He has the experience.
Well, I was gonna say so Tyler's first feature, which premiered at Tribeca in 2021.
Congratulations.
God's Waiting Room. Matt is the lead actor and won Best Actor at Tribeca, and he's incredibly talented. And then what
Yeah.
happened?
Well, yeah, exactly. When I worked with him on my first film, I was like, man, this guy has range. It's like driving a sports car. You got like all kinds of gears that you want to tap into. So I was trying to think of what would be perfect for him, and I love like tailoring roles for people's specific personalities,
Yeah.
because then you can they can really dig in and give you something that maybe nobody else can give you.
Yeah.
And when he told me that he used to be a bodybuilder, but he had experienced insecurities of not being enough, not being good enough, not being big enough, like I just thought there were so many parallels between that and I felt like a personal connection to that, just because like as filmmakers you're always wondering like is my artwork, is it good enough, am I enough, am I everything that I want to be? And so it was just fun to explore.
Let's talk about being good enough. Telling the best story means that all of your heads of department have to be on the same page.
Yeah. Well, that was easy on this one.
Yeah. So how did you find your heads of department, and what was it like working with them?
Well, we had one.
You had many-
we
you
had
had
we
many
had one
of
person that
those
was the head of many
titles.
departments.
Yeah, it says here writer, director, DP, editor, and EP. So that's a lot of hats
Yeah.
to be wearing and to
that's
be in
why
charge
you gave
of.
away the
Well-
producer title, because you're like one of them.
Somebody had to
Yeah.
order lunch.
Yeah.
Producer by itself is like head honcho, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's important to talk about when you guys reached out to me. You reached out to me with the feature script, And the idea was, hey, we want to make this feature. Like, what can we do to make it? And I think, and the materials were good, and the script's great. So I was really excited about it. I found a lot of the same connection points with this story, with being a filmmaker, just being obsessed with this like impossible goal, and how do we get there? Which for Matt's character is being a pro bodybuilder, and for me is making great movies. So I had that connection, and I felt like other people watching this movie could, and we've shared it in other places around the world, and we have received that feedback, which has been great. But so we're putting together our materials to pitch and make this film, and Matt was getting into shape, dedicating himself 24 hours a day to eating the right food, waking up at the right time, and lifting and getting back into competition shape, which is a very special kind of process. And there was going to be a competition in September, and we were like, we need to shoot that. And that's kind of where what this started as, is like, we want to get this amazing footage of Matt as the real deal, incredible bodybuilder that he is. And
well, when he started working out, we were thinking, we got permission to film at a real bodybuilding event, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted that like documentary feel, and I wanted the authenticity of like, this guy is so dedicated, this actor is so dedicated that he can assimilate into this world seamlessly, right? Yep. And so he started working out January last year, and we shot in November, not September. So he worked out for 11 months, eating this crazy diet, and he got into this shape. And I was thinking we were going to be shooting a feature film. I was like, we'll just shoot the feature film in November, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's September. We don't have all the money, so I was like, well, we have the bodybuilding event. Let's just shoot you at the bodybuilding event, and then we'll have a proof of concept. And that's how I became like the head of every department. So then,
out of necessity, But also Tyler's incredibly talented as a writer, director, and a DP. So
let's talk about it. It's the first time we've had in our 3 days of interviews a director DP.
Yeah.
When you call cut as a director DP, what's the first thing you're doing?
Oh my gosh, it's like three-dimensional chess. It was really, really, really hard. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. And if I do it again, it'll be with the camera operator. Yeah. Because I was operating the camera as well.
Yeah.
I yell cut, and then I stop and I play in my head because I don't have time to run to a monitor.
Yes.
And I don't know how to use my camera to do playback fast. Yeah. So I'm just like playing the scene back in my head, and I'm thinking, was my framing right? Where, how can I shape the performance? Also we were working with non-actors as well. So it's, first, was my frame good? Did everything look in focus? And where can I push the performance? Because his performance is incredible.
Yeah. So you're going through the mental, like ticking the boxes per department. Like, did I get the baseline, and then do I need more?
Yeah, and it's, I move the camera around a lot as well. Every time I make a film, I'm trying to figure out, how do I move the camera more? I feel like in this day and age, a lot of people let the camera sit, and they want to do this like Paul Schrader, like slow cinema thing, but it's like, you're not Paul Schrader, and that's really, 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 really hard to do.
Right.
And I like kinetic energy, and I want, that's a part of the art form. Yeah. So I'm like, did I move? How do I dance with my actor? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need you to say this line, and then boom, I'm going to pan to you, and then when you feel the camera on me, then say your line. So it's like thinking about all those things at the same time.
So you're having some very technical discussions with your actor, because you need them to be able to do this blocking with you. What sort of things were you discussing with him?
Yeah, it all depends on the scene, because I come from like the theater world, and I come from a Meisner background in acting, which is like, you do improvisation your first year in Meisner school. So a lot of times I'll sit back and I'll have the camera handheld, and I'm like, do you explore the space? So that's, in a dialogue scene, I could do it like that, which creates a lot of heck in the editing room, which is good that I'm the editor. So I create my own mess to clean up. But then it's like, like you're saying, if the actor needs to go and hit a mark, you try to direct them in a way that doesn't like shut them off creatively. So it's like, I'll try to say things like, you know, when you feel the camera on you, and when you feel that impulse, you know, it's all about, you know, you don't want to go internal too much and feel too much and be in your head, but yeah, it's delicate, and each individual actor is different with how you talk to them.
Yeah.
That's true. It's great to be able to establish a common language between yourself, your creative team, your crew, so that everyone can be on the same page there and understand what you're asking for.
Yeah.
And you feel like you found that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you kind of just let me do my thing.
Yeah, so I was, you know, we actually shot this with a 5-person crew, so
Yeah.
I was like I was like whispering ideas into to Tyler, like, I was trying to be like a little bit objective and trying to throw some more ideas out there, just because he had so much to do physically as well as like mentally.
And you kept the wheels on it, essentially, from...
Yeah, we kept it moving and making sure that we got what we need in order for the scene to work. And then like, okay, we got that, what else can we do to play to like expand on it? And I've actually done a lot of work with, as a producer, but a lot of work with non-actors. So I have like a comfort level there where it's really about casting. So Matt's a great actor. The other 2 people that he's playing opposite against are his mom, who's incredible in the movie.
His real mom.
His real mom.
His real mom.
Yeah.
You know, who obviously knows him very well, and they have this rapport. And then his real bodybuilding coach, who also has the same type of scenario. So like
His
jumping into
bodybuilding
this.
coach from when before he was an actor. So you're talking like someone from his life like 15 years ago.
Very long-term relationship.
So there's like history there and like a familiarity. And what was cool about working with his mom is that, like, you know, you can develop secrets on the side. You know, I'd pull her aside and be like, you know, what's something, say something to him that's gonna, I want him to break the way he's saying this line. So you say something to him that's gonna just totally throw him off. And then, you know, the mom, you know, she was like, well, I got something. And then, you know, she would come and say, oh, you know, your uncle this and that went to jail or something crazy. And then you could see Matt, the actor, but he's listening to his mom, and you can see him processing. And yeah, it was actually, I think, ended up being in our benefit.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, also when you're setting up a project very quickly, to bring in people that have worked together, actually just knowing each other for a long time is very helpful with non-actors.
That's so fantastic.
So we have to wrap this up now, but you're screening tonight, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, we're screening tonight in the 10 p.m. comedy shorts block, and you can follow the movie on Instagram at Blue Boy the Movie. And if you like the movie, tell your friends about it. Leave us a review on Letterboxd, and we're excited to be here at the festival with all of you.
Great.
Tell your friends about it.
I also just want to applaud you. I saw you shot on a Komodo.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I applaud someone who is a director, DP, and all of these things, shooting without a proper viewfinder. Red, please make a viewfinder for the Komodo to make it easier for all of us.
Oh, let me say one thing about the Komodo.
Great.
Okay, so we played at Clermont-Ferrand earlier this year.
Yeah.
And there was a filmmaker in our block. His short film had just played Cannes, and he was a total, like, I shot on 16 millimeter film and blah, 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 blah. You know, and it's, I get it. Like, of course it looks better. It's expensive though. And like, yeah, not everybody can do that or have time or be in a live environment and, you know, shoot. And I'm not controlling anything, essentially. Do you remember this?
He was convinced that the movie was
shot on film. He spit his beer out. He goes, first of all, he couldn't believe I shot on a digital camera. He's like, what? I can't believe. I thought for sure it was 16 millimeter. And then I was like, yeah, and it was a Komodo. And I kid you not, he spit his beer out. Spit
There
beer
you
out.
go.
Komodo is
It's
a
not
fantastic
always
camera.
the gear that makes the movie.
Yes.
No, so
it's
shout
the
out,
artist
shout
that
out to
makes the
Taylor
movie.
Black.
Taylor Black.
Apache
out to
color.
Taylor.
Apache's fantastic.
Shout out to Taylor Black.
Did you
For sure.
use, this is my DP brain final thing, just for the technical, because I think a lot of people who hear this and want to hear about how you can go from someone saying, like, it must have been shot on film and you're shooting digital. Were you working with like a film emulation and giving them a number, or were like a 200T stock or 500T, or were you just saying, I just want to add some texture?
No, so I've only worked with Apache on everything that I've directed. Again, I've worked with my colorist Taylor, he's been my only colorist, and we've just developed a language.
Fantastic.
We talk film stocks,
Great.
all that jazz. 500,
Great.
500T, 16 mil, or like finding the space. Like we were really trying to look for the space between 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter.
Yes.
Where it wasn't like too much, but it definitely had a look.
16 mil 200T. That is my secret sauce
There
for
you go.
getting
Yeah.
between the 16-35 look.
If
With a really
everyone
clean
wants
glass.
to know how
Exactly.
Indiana
Yeah.
shoots and gets that
I know,
look,
yeah. I'm like, I
that-
must get
now
into this
everybody
technical discussion.
knows.
Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much for joining us. Blue Boy screening tonight. You can also check it out on the virtual festival that is alongside of this, and that is on BitPix. Thank you all so much, and we will see you soon.
Thanks
Bye,
everyone for
thank you.
joining us today. Bye.
I was like,
This has been another special episode of the Cinematography for Actors podcast. We are here live at the 19th annual Oscar qualifying HollyShorts Film Festival through August 20th. Follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and if you are here at the festival, come up to the VIP lounge and say hi.
We also want to give a huge thank you and shout out to our sponsors, which we have so many to help us put this together, and that is Apogee Film Tools, Roscoe, Lightstone Rentals, Canon, and First Mile Technology for the awesome Wi-Fi hookup. As a special gift to our CFA listeners, we have partnered with a company called We Make Movies, you may be familiar with them, to offer discounted production services, including access to comprehensive production insurance and workers' comp for your next shoot. Visit wemakemovies.org/insurance and use code CFA23 on your next intake form for 10% off your quote. We are making filmmaking more accessible. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time on the Cinematography for Actors podcast. Thanks all. Bye.